All right, well, good morning, everybody. Happy probably Wednesday or Thursday. Now that I think of it, it's Memorial Weekend, so it's probably Thursday or Friday. So anyway, today we're going to finish up our work in Algebra 2 by covering this last lesson here in Chapter 7, 7.5, Solving Quadratics, the Quadratic Formula. So our learning target here today will be able to solve quadratic equations by using the quadratic formula. So yesterday we did a process called completing the square. Today we're going to use a formula that helps us solve this. So what does the quadratic formula look like? So you might remember this, okay, back in your Algebra 1 days. So we can solve x in terms of three values, a, b, and c. I'm going to talk about what those numbers are here in just a second, but you might remember this formula as x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, you may have even learned it by the song Pop Goes the Weasel. So I'm going to sing for you just one time real quick. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It's kind of a neat jingle to help you remember what the formula is. So the question is, how do you use this formula? Well, the most important thing about the formula to know is you got to have it in general form because it helps you identify your a, b, and c values. So in general form, the quadratic equation that you're given must be equal to 0. So everything must be on the left side. The number in front of the x squared is a, the number in front of the x is the b value, and the number that's just by itself is the c value. So once you have it in general form, identify those values. Then you simply plug them into the quadratic equation and then solve by doing, I apologize, it says your inverse operations. You really don't do your inverse operations. You just solve for x by simplifying. Wow, I'm glad Mr. Bart's caught that. So just one thing to note there. All right, so we'll start plugging away here at these problems, showing you how you use the quadratic formula. All right, so our first example here says x squared minus 4x minus 12 equals 0. What's nice is the first step's done for you. Everything's all by itself. So now let's identify a, b, and c. When there's no number in front of a x or x squared, you can always put 1. So here, a equals 1, b equals negative 4, c equals negative 12. Now when using the quadratic formula, watching your signs is very important. So let's start plugging it in. X equals says to take the opposite, or negative b. So two negatives actually make a positive. So it becomes positive 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 squared, got to extend that out a little bit more, minus 4 times the a value, which is 1, times the c value, which is negative 12, all over 2 times the a value, which is 1. So now, when I do this, I try to be extra careful. So I kind of take it in steps. Negative 4 being squared, positive 16. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 12, positive 48. 16 and 48 make 64. So now I have 4 plus or minus, add those together, square root of 64 over 2. Now, square root of 64, I know is 8. So I have 4 plus or minus 8 all over 2. So now I'm going to simplify both of them. So 4 plus 8 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Okay. The other one, x equals 4 minus 8, negative 4 divided by 2, x equals negative 2. So I got my two solutions. Just like that. All right, let's do number 2. Same process. Here A is 1, B is 6, C is negative 10. So x equals, whoops, sorry about that. No. We take the opposite of b, so negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 6 being squared minus 4 times the a value 1 times the c value negative 10 all over 2 times the a value, which is 1. So now x equals negative 6 plus or minus. So now I got to do that square root part again. 6 squared, 36. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 10 becomes a positive 40. That adds up to, square root of 76 all over 2. So now what you have to think about is, square root of 76. Is there a perfect square that goes into the number 76? So a lot of times I start with 4, and 4 does. And if we don't know, I just go over to my calculator. 76 divided by 4 is 19. So what I can do is rewrite this as the square root of 4 times the square root of 19. So x equals negative 6 plus or minus, well, the square root of 4 is 2. So I get 2 square roots of 19. It's the same thing as 76, or square root of 76, it just looks different. Now it's being all divided by 2. The reason why we do that is it helps us simplify it. Because now if I divide everything by 2, 2 goes into negative 6 negative 3 times. 2 goes into 2, crosses out, plus or minus the square root of 19. Now the fraction is gone. And I get that answer with the square root in it, like I did when completing the square. All right, last one in the notes here. Look at this. It says equals, so that means I got to move everything to the other side. So I got to subtract 10x and add 15. So now all of a sudden I have 3x squared minus 10x plus 15 equals 0. All right, so now I'm going to plug it into the quadratic equation. X equals, opposite of b, 10, plus or minus the square root, 10 squared, minus 4 times the a value, which is 3, times the c value, which is 15, all over 2 times the a value, 3. All right, so now, as I continue to simplify, x equals 10 plus or minus, 10 squared is 100, minus 4 times 3 times 15. Gotta make sure we check that out. I believe that's minus 180. So when I subtract those, I get negative 80 over 2 times 3 is 6. Square root of negative 80? Can't square root a negative number. So what happens here is we get no solution. Bummer. Okay, so here we actually get one where we actually get 0 solutions or no solution. Okay? We didn't have that actually happen in the complete the square assignment. All right, so now let's go to the next page and let's start our CFU problems. So let's do these together by doing the quadratic formula. So let's see here. A equals 1, B equals negative 7, C equals 12. All right, I apologize. Make sure you've taken out your notebook or a sheet of paper because we're going to do these 3 together. These are 3 problems you're going to turn into me along with the assignment problems below. All right, so here we go. So let's see. X equals negative B, so positive 7, plus or minus the square root of negative 7 squared minus 4 times 1 times 12 all over 2 times 1. All right, so let's keep simplifying. X equals 7 plus or minus, let's see, negative 7 squared is 49. Negative 4 times 1 times 12 is 48. Ooh, when I subtract those, I just get the square root of 1 all over 2. Well, the square root of 1 is just 1. So I have 7 plus 1 over 2. That equals 4. And then I have 7 minus 1 divided by 2. That's 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And I got the first one done. All right, let's try the second CFU problem. So I'll pick kind of a different color here. So A equals 2, B equals negative 5, C equals negative 12. So X equals positive 5 plus or minus the square root of negative 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 12 all over, okay, let's see here, 2 times the A value 2. All right, so now let's keep on simplifying. So you have X equals 5 plus or minus, let's see here, 25. Ooh, negative 4 times 2 times negative 12 is positive 96. So I get square root of 121 over 4. So now as I simplify that, I get 5. Square root of 121 is 11. So I get X equals 5 plus 11 divided by 4, which is 4. And then I have 5 minus 11 divided by 4 is negative 1.5. So again, I get negative 6/4. So just to kind of show you, 5 minus 11, there you're getting the negative number divided by 4, and you'll get a decimal. There we go. All right, the last one in the CFUs. Ooh, got to get all the numbers to the other side. So I got to subtract 7x and subtract 15. So I get 2x squared minus 7x minus 15 equals 0. So I'm just basically moving them over by changing their signs. So now my A is 2, my B is negative 7, and my C is negative 15. So now let's plug it in. So opposite of negative 7, positive 7, plus or minus the square root. See, negative 7 squared minus 4 times A, which is 2, times negative 15, all over, okay, as I keep on simplifying here, 2 times 2. All right, so X equals. All right, so let's start doing our math here a little bit. So let's see here. Whoops, I want to switch colors. So that becomes 49. 4 times 2 is 8, or negative 8, and negative 8 times negative 15 actually becomes 120. So I get 7 plus or minus the square root of 49 and 120 is 169 all over 4. Ooh, this one's kind of nice because the square root of 169 is 13. So this is like saying 7 plus 13 all over 4, which equals 5. And then 7 minus 13 over 4. Well, that's negative 6 over 4, just like that one. Negative 1.5. All right. So now, the assignment part. So take a second, pause the video, and write these 3 problems down, and I want you to try these 3 problems on your own. Once you've completed the problems, start up the video again and check your answers. All right, so let's check to see how well you did your 3 problems for your assignment. So, first thing we want to do is identify A, B, and C. So A is 1, B is -9, C is 20. So let's plug it into the formula. X equals 9 plus or minus -9. Whoops, I started to do it. That's funny when Mr. Bartz kind of does that. His brain's working fast. -9 squared times 4 times 1 times 20 all over 2 times 1. All right, so now let's start to simplify. -9 squared is 81. 4 times 2 times 20 is 80. So now I have x equals 9 plus or minus the square root of 1, which is just 1, over 2. So now this is like saying 9 plus 1 over 2, which is 5. 9 plus 1 is 10, divided by 2 is 5. 9 minus 1 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. I got my 2 answers. All right, let's try the next one. So again, very nice that they're all by themselves. So A is 9, B is 12, and C is 4. What I mean is it's already written in general form, so you can identify your variables right away. Ooh, these numbers are a little bit bigger. Get a little more math. That's good for us. So -12 plus or minus the square root of, let's see, 12 squared minus 4 times the A value, 9, times the C value, which is also 4, all divided by 2 times 9. Wowzers. All right, that's all right. Let's see what happens. 12 squared, 144, minus 4 times 9 times 4 happens to also be 144. So I get x equals -12 plus or minus the square root of 0 all over 18. Well, this is gone, anything that's 0. So I have the fraction -12 over 18. That's like saying -0.6 repeating. Or if you like the fraction, -2/3. So this one only has one answer because that's what happens. If this part becomes 0, you actually only get one solution. All right, the last one. Let's move the numbers over to the other side. I hope you did that, because if you didn't, it's going to mess up all your signs and some of your numbers. So the equation we're really working with is x squared plus 3x minus 13 equals 0. So A equals 1, B equals 3, C equals -13. So now I'm going to start plugging this in. Okay, so I get -3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times -13, all over 2 times 1. Let's see here. X equals -3 plus or minus, let's see here, 3 squared is 9, -4 times 1 times -13. Ooh, that's plus 52. So I get the square root of 61 all over 2. Square root of 61 is a prime number, so it can't be simplified, and 2 doesn't go into 3 nicely. Guess what? We're done. Sweet. All right, so make sure once you have those 6 problems done, the CFUs and these 3 assignment problems, take a picture of it, insert it, submit it to me so I can make sure I give you the 10 points for this assignment. Alrighty, that's all I have for you. Have a great day, and I'm guessing we're close to a weekend, so have a great weekend.